Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to episode 8 in my monthly wrap up videos. Uh, this month was hard, I'm going to be honest, because if you don't know, I have got a roommate. Well, technically, I don't. He doesn't technically live here, but he's over here all the time and is my best friend. So, yeah, like, it's been hard to, like, find time to read. I've literally had to force time to read, and because me and him will get so wrapped up in doing something fun as shit, and I'm like, damn it, I don't want to quit, but I don't want to get behind on reading. Because I have a YouTube channel. I talk about this stuff. I talk about books, and I love books, so I try to balance out. Like having time to hang out and having time to read because I love doing both and I don't want to sacrifice either or for the other one. So anyway, I read about 6 books this month, and that was pretty good. I wasn't expecting that because the way it started out at the beginning of the month was really hard, and I'm like, damn it, I don't know if I'm gonna get anything done, but yeah, I managed to get 6 books done, and so I started off with the Shadow Rising, book 4 in the Wheel of Time series, and man, like I said in my review of it, I made a book review. It'll pop up here. Yeah, it was like coming home after being away for a long time, and I really enjoyed this book. And thinking about it, um, I gave it a 4 out of 5 on my review of it. But like thinking about it before I made this video, I'm like, man, I should have gave it a 4.5 out of 5 because I enjoyed it more. And the only real problem I had with the book was I believe some things could have been cut out. And that's usually with every thick book. There's always something that can be cut out. But um, so this book was mainly about Perrin, or we follow him a lot throughout the book. Uh, Something happens. I don't want to spoil anything. Something happens, and he goes on this Trolloc hunt, and he's just killing Trollocs left and right. Ran and Matt decides to go to the IEL waste because Ran wants to take the IEL test to see if he's the Karin. Some of the Aes Sedai hear about this weapon that could kill Rand, so they try to figure out where it is and what it is to get rid of it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to stick with the 4 out of 5 rating I gave it because once I give a book a rating in a video and I upload the video and it's already got views, it's too late. So it's final. So yeah, I wish I could have gave it a 4.5 out of 5, but oh well. Really good book. I highly recommend it. If you're if you like fantasy and you're looking for a great series to read and you haven't read the Wheel of Time series, pick it up because I haven't regretted it since I've been reading it. I really love this series. So, on to another series I read that I'm kind of getting bored of. The Jack Reacher series, Never Go Back. I don't know. I forget which book this would be. They're not numbered because you can read them, out of order. I'd have to go count again. But so this book, Reacher is called back into the military, and there's this guy that gets hurt like 16 years previous to this, and he dies. Uh, you know, Due to what Reacher did to him 16 years ago. He apparently beat him up really bad, and then the guy has like problems 16 years later, and then he finally died of the injuries. And so now Reacher is like being charged with murder. And it started off okay. I was, into it. And then eventually it just started getting boring. And the characters we meet in the book just felt flat. And Jack Reacher was feeling flat. We don't really learn anything about Reacher. Turner, the side character that Reacher meets, we don't really learn anything about her. I just didn't care about her. This one, I also regret the rating too that I gave it. I also did a book review to this. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5, and I wish I would have gave it a 2. I think I was being a little bit generous with the book, because looking back on it after I gave the book review, I really wish I would have gave it a 2. I didn't enjoy it. I really didn't. It got to the point where I was getting really bored and wanted it to end. And so after this book, I read something that really made me forget about Never Go Back. Going from a bad book to a really good book. So I read The Hunger Games for the very first time, and I've watched all 4 of the movies. So I already liked the series. I already knew what it was about. But reading the book, I love the book now. I'm gonna have to continue with the book series. I probably will this month, October. But so Katniss, she's in this. She's in District 12, and this, I believe, a war happened, and where the districts are used to be North America, and now it's broke up in like 13 districts. And so our main protagonist is in District 12, and so these rich people, they're like, I guess, the new government or whatever. They take people out of districts, all the districts, like a boy and a girl, and they draw out of these little these big bowls, something like that. I'm probably getting stuff wrong, but they draw your name, and they draw a boy and a girl's name, and you have to take place in the Hunger Games. And so you're in this big arena, and they can set the like, it could be a forest, or it could be out in a bunch of snow or whatever. They can make it anything they want, and they turn you loose, and you have to kill everybody. And if you're the last person standing, you win the Hunger Games. So that's basically what it's about. And I really, really, really enjoyed this book. It was really, really fun to read. The only nitpick I had with it is the love triangle, because Katniss has somebody that she left at home named Gale, that she kind of has something going between, and then she starts to like this guy named Peeta, and they have this thing going. I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, I was like, man, they've done love triangles to death. But this book is pretty old now, and this happened when that was starting to come about, so I can't really fault it for that. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. So my first 5 out of 5 for a book in like 2 months now. So and then I ended my month with one of my favorite series, which is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I read all 3 of the books. And they're just little short horror stories. They're based on folklore and stuff like that. Now, the artwork is what stands out about these books the most. They're really creepy looking. And I've known about this series since I was like in middle school, I think, or maybe elementary. Uh, I just remember like going in my library and seeing these books and just being drawn to them uh, for the pictures in them, and just reading them and really loving the stories. But yeah, they got like these creepy ass drawings and stuff. Um, I guess I will mention my favorite story out of each book. Um, the first one, my favorite story would probably be the first one, the first story in it, which is The Big Toe. Um, about a little boy who finds a toe sticking out of the ground, and it's just a lot of these stories are silly. They're a little far fetched, like how people act in the stories is what I mean. Like the boy gets the toe and he brings it inside, and his mom wants to put it in the soup. I'm like, what the hell? Who the fuck would do that shit? But but anyway, this um, creature or whatever that uh, the toe belonged to, he comes back for his toe, and it is creepy though, because like, how did he know where the boy was? He was outside, and then he's like, uh, coming into the house, and he knows exactly where the boy is because he, comes all the way to the boy's room, and he's standing beside his bed, and he wants his toe back. But so the second one, and I guess I'll rate the series all together instead of each book because the books are really really tiny. And so my favorite story out of this one is probably um, the bed by the window. Uh, that was I don't know what to think about that story. It's about these two guys in this hospital room, and they're sick, so they're bedridden, and so when one per no, it's three people I think laying beside each other, and there's one bed that's like right there at the wall. It's got a window, and so the person laying by the window will look out, and they'll tell the other two what they're seeing out the window because they can't get up. And so this one guy is really envious of the guy at the window because he gets to see all these amazing things, and he'll tell the guy what he's seeing and stuff. And he's like, man, I wanna be able to see this. So he plots to kill him, and he does. The guy like has a heart attack or something, and he needs his pills, and the guy knocks his pills off so he can't reach them, and the dude dies, and he finally gets the spot at the window, and when he looks out the window, it's nothing but a brick wall. And I'm like, holy shit. You won't see that shit coming. But yeah, a really amazing story. But so my favorite story out of all the series that I'll never ever forget. Like every time I think about this series, I always think about this one story. It's fucking creepy as hell. So the third book has Harold in it. Harold has always creeped me out ever since I read it for the very first time. I remember reading it for the first time and just having to sit there and think about what I just read. But Harold is a doll, and these two farmers are herding their cows, and not hurting them, but you know what I mean, hopefully. And so they stay in like this little cabin place, and they're like herding their cattle like a couple miles or something like that. And well, they stop like the halfway point or something, and like this cabin, and so they decide to pass the time by building this doll, and they stuff it with hay, and but they start to abuse it over time, and like smearing their food in its face and just hitting it, And one day the dog grunts, and it kind of scares them, and they try to pass it off as just insects inside of it, or a mouse or something making that noise. And they continue, abusing it. And then one day it stands up and walks out of the little cabin and gets on top of the roof. And now they're really fucking scared of it. And they decide when they leave, they're going to leave it behind. And, well, it comes time to leave, and the doll is standing way out in the field, and they can see it. And so they get like a few miles away, and they're laughing that they got away and that thing didn't hurt them. But then they realize that they left like a milking stool behind, and it's supposedly expensive, and they didn't want to leave it. So one of the friends decides to go back, and so the friend that's sitting there waiting for him to come back is watching, and he sees the doll get on top of the roof and put out a bloody skin to dry in the sunlight. And that blew my mind. That was fucking creepy because I hate dolls. And I always put, in situations like that, I always put me and my friend in that situation in my mind. And so it affects me more. So yeah, the series itself, I'll probably give a 4 out of 5. I feel like that would be decent because some of the stories are really cheesy and eye-rolling, but the artwork in it is probably my favorite. And then, some of the stories have really stuck with me over the years. Are really creepy. But yeah, that is all the books I've read this month, and I had a blast with a few of them. But yeah, guys, that is it for this video. I don't know when I'll make another one. I don't have anything planned. But yeah, another month down. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.